So a big win today for UConn over North Carolina as it takes down the pressure just a little bit, which is on the program and the players. If they would have lost today, oh my God, they would have dropped out of the top 25 and you just would have not heard the end of it. Oh, the end of the dynasty. UConn's not what it used to be, so on and so on. So it was a gritty, tough win, and it looks like UConn, for better or worse, is starting to find out who they are. And who they are is a team with a superstar in Paige Beckers and trying to find four other solid contributors to put around her. They know that they will get something from Edwards, and then they are just trying to fill the gaps with young players who they hope will develop over the course of the season and give them a chance. And in truth, it's really just a math equation. Is the shooting that I get with four guards being Mule, Shade, and KK, is that enough to make up for what I am going to give up on defense? And when the offense is moving and the defense is good and they're getting transition baskets, then yes, it is. But when it's not, then they need Beckers to be supernova. Today, it was consistently inconsistent. So they had a great first quarter and a good third quarter, and then the offense stagnated in the second and fourth quarters. And that is the scary thing. Beckers cannot play much better. She went 11 for 14 for 26 points, and they only won by 12. And part of that was they just had too many turnovers. I think Nika had 6 and KK 4, and it was just the little things that they cannot afford to do because they are such on a knife's edge. So let's get into each of the players' performances. So first of all, Beckers, it was very pleasing to see her have a strong game. She said as much herself that she really wanted to interject herself on defense and really play aggressive to get her offense going, and that really worked the trick. So she was all over the place. Gino said it as well after the game, that she was just more forceful, more talkative, and just more taking on the role that, yeah, we're not losing this game today. And she did everything. You could just tell from the moment the game got going, she's like, yeah, we're not losing this game. And that was the feel that it had, at least for me, when I was watching it in real time. The other pillar, Aaliyah Edwards, she really sort of came alive in the third quarter. It seemed like at the second half of the third quarter, she started to get the ball and drive more and needed more from her, and she delivered as well. So she had a fairly solid game, getting 16 points on 7 of 17 shooting as well. She got 11 rebounds. So, I mean, you really can't argue with a double-double. And those were the two main players. In terms of Nika, the one thing that she's doing for you, and that's what she needs to do, is she's hitting her outside shot right now. So she went 4 for 7 from 3, which is big. You hope that's a consistent trend for her, and that she does seem really comfortable taking that baseline three-pointer or the one on the side as well. The thing that I imagine drives Gino crazy is just the turnovers. So 6 turnovers. There was one long pass to Shade that she threw. I think she had like 2 of the long passes that were turnovers. I think Beckers had one as well. Those are the ones that just have to give him a headache. He's just like, come on, we are not good enough to be able to afford this. We have to protect the ball. So 6 turnovers was too many. And some of them, just she and KK, a lot of times were on the same page. I think they had a fumble dribble handoff at one stage. It just seemed like a lot of issues with that. And part of that is just this team getting to gel with each other and figuring out this is our lineup and this is who we're going to be. And that is part of some of the quarter inefficiency, you would hope as well. As they gel, get more consistently playing with each other, it will flow better. I mean, that is the hope for this team. Now, next, the freshman starters. So first, Ashlynn Shade, she had a solid game. So she went 3 for 8 and 2 for 5 from 3 for 8 points. And she was solid. She hit the open shots she needed enough to keep them honest. Arnold, she went for 7 off of 2 for 9 shooting, 1 for 3 from 3-point range. It felt like with her, like it was good how she was attacking the basket and the transition game. She had a nice assist to Becker's. The thing it felt like a little bit more in this game was she got picked on a bit more on defense, and that's probably because she gets a chance to get exposed a little bit more because she had 32 minutes. And there were times where I think there was one backdoor or sort of layup on her and other ones like that. You could just tell that her defense was just a little bit more exposed in this game than what I'd seen before. And that is obviously what you are giving up when you play the 4-guard lineup. So it's no shock there. The next one, so working through the bench players that got time, it was interesting because initially I think Edwards had to go off with a bloody nose, and instead of going with ice, Gino brought in Aubrey Griffin to play the 5, so they went super small, if you like. Griffin played better, I thought, than she did at Texas. She just seemed, and it's a judgment call, but it just seemed like on defense she was more aggressive and more into it. Her numbers weren't spectacular, so she went for 5 points off of 2 for 6 shooting. And overall, again, her defense was just, it felt like she was everywhere, and she was really engaged, trying to help out on the boards. So she went for, how many boards did she get? She got 8 boards, which was big. I think it's really going to come down to, in terms of the long-term starting lineup. I mean, I keep on going on about this, but a little bit will be KK shooting, because if you're not having a consistent shooting threat from KK and they're not willing to go to Samuels consistently, then ultimately I think you will have to go back to Griffin as a starter. But I think he's done the math on this one. I mean, he was talking after the game, Gino Auriemma, about how they went 8 for 17 from 3-point line, and essentially they made 5 more 3-pointers than North Carolina. I mean, that's a 15-point differential right there, and that's how you make up when you lose out on the boards and you're giving up that size. I think they lost a rebounding advantage. What did UConn get? I think UConn got 33 versus 43. So they gave up, they lost the rebounding advantage by 13. But at the same time, you're willing to take that if you're going to make it up with 15 points beating the other team on 3-pointers. I thought the big loser in this game was Ice Brady. It was telling when Edwards had her bloody nose and he did not go to her. There was one point where he wanted more offense from the elbow. At least that's what the sideline reporter was saying. And she was put in the game, and there was a play where she got it and sort of hesitated and then sort of forced one up, and it just wasn't real smooth. And I just think he did the calculation and said, yep, we are just going to go small, and you are going to need to earn your playing time. Samuels got 8 minutes. She was 1 for 2 with 0 for 1 from 3-point line, so she got 2 points. Overall, mixed bag, fine. He just, I don't know why he didn't give her more time. I would have given her a little bit more. I think he was comfortable with who he had in there and thought that was working. But, he's going to need to develop Ice Brady and Samuels. But I suspect he's going to say, you need to earn your playing time and practice before I'm going to give you extended minutes, because you only get a short show to sort of show me what you can do in the games, and you really need to earn your time. And I think that's what he's looking at right now with those two. But they're going to need more from them if this team is going anywhere. He compared this team to the in the press conference, he compared it to, I guess, 2004 when Taurasi was left. Everybody else had graduated, and she had the 4 freshmen, and we're trying to build around her. And I guess you sort of need something to hold on, and hell, why not? That seems a nice little comparison that, hey, we need to get all of these freshmen going to build around our superstar, and that gives us a chance. And I've said that before, if you have Paige Beckers, then you have a chance. It's really going to be on how these rookies develop, which will ultimately determine where UConn goes. After the last video, after the few I've done, I've gotten this, that, UConn's done, it's all over. I don't think so. I think it's going to be an interesting season. I think it's going to be interesting to watch him build and take this team, just see how he sculpts it. I think freshmen are all have a chance to be really, really good, and I think it's going to be fun to watch to see them how they develop as well. It's so Captain Hindsighty. People saying, "Oh my God, he's recruited bad players. He didn't take a look at their injury history," which I've seen this in the comments, and I just think that's ridiculous. I mean, come on, who the hell's not going to take on an AZ Fudd just because she had an ACL injury in high school? Every coach would have given a scholarship to AZ Fudd and would have hoped to build around here. So that's just crazy in my mind. With Descharme, yes, she had injuries in high school. She had the shoulder. She had an ACL, which gives you an idea that she was hurt. But the current injury is not related to that. I mean, there's no study that I'm aware of that says, if you have ACL and shoulder injuries, that's going to lead or make you more predisposed to concussion injuries. So I think there's a lot of Captain Hindsight going on, and this is why it's happening. And everybody, people just want to be angry because it hasn't gone the way they want it to go, which is fine. But overall, you don't win as many championships and get as many wins as Gino Auriemma's gotten by not being a damn good coach. So he will take his pieces, as he says, and they might not be the pieces that he envisioned, but he will take those pieces and build something that will likely give UConn a chance. And I think if you're going to discount them this early, I think that is not so smart. I'm not guaranteeing that they will go to the Final Four, but there's nothing to say that they cannot put these pieces together and get back to the Final Four, because I say it with my football team. We've got a quarterback in CJ Stroud. So if you have a quarterback, you have a chance. And in basketball, if you have a superstar, then you have a chance in college basketball, in my opinion. Doesn't mean it's guaranteed. Obviously, if you have 3 stars, you have a better chance, but you need at least 1 star to have a really good chance. So they want to make sure they do all they can to take advantage, because stars, well, they go to LA.